I'm Jordy McKay. I'm from La Crosse, Wisconsin, and back home I'm currently working on sustainability of my program since it's election year. My county also just received a grant to work on smoke-free multi-unit housing. We have been doing a lot of candidate education on other tobacco products.
My name's Kyle Pika. I'm from Paradise, Wisconsin, and I'm 20 years old. I've been working with tobacco prevention since I was 13, so it's been a while now. Back home, I work with the Crawford County Abuse Resistance Effort, or CARE, as well as Wisconsin statewide group fighting against corporate tobacco, and I've been working with CTFK now for about 3 years. I helped pass Wisconsin's Indoor Clean Air Act in 2010. That went into effect July 5th, so we're just coming around on the second anniversary of it. I also worked with FDA legislation in 2009 and 2010.
My name is Jeffrey Tice. I've been working on tobacco prevention in West Virginia, working on youth empowerment and tobacco-free campuses.
My name is Alexis Baz. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm part of a group called SWAT, Students Working Against Tobacco. I have visited city council members in 5 different cities to pass resolution ordinances to get tobacco flavored products put behind the counter.
My name is Gabe Glissmeyer from Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'm in One Good Reason, Out of the Smoke, Project 1200, and the Network for LGBT Health Equity. And right now I've been working on trying to get menthol banned.
I'm Corey Caswell. I'm from Hannibal, Missouri, and it's a small town. We're a little bit north of St. Louis. And what I do, I'm involved in a few different organizations, one called Smoke Busters and Breathe Easy Hannibal, and Tobacco Free Missouri. And we've been working on getting a smoke-free indoor air ordinance in Hannibal, and that was recently enacted a couple weeks ago, so that was pretty awesome.
My name is Brittany Jones. I'm a resident from Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm a part of the campaign for tobacco-free kids, but back home I work for an organization called the 84.
This week was really fun. It was actually my second symposium, so it was a really good review on things that I learned a couple years ago. I really enjoyed the Hill visits. I thought that meeting with my legislators really helped make a difference in the current proposal.
This week was really interesting. It's always great to go on the Hill, and I mean the kind of professional preparation aside here, it's also very interesting just to interact with other youth advocates, building the network, as it were.
It's probably a once-in-a-lifetime experience, you know, getting to network with other youth who are working on the same projects and giving you different ideas. It's a really cool experience.
It was really fun. I got to meet a lot of new people and go visit the Hill and talk to people that kind of have an impact in my city because I kind of know them. Corrine Brown, my mom actually knows her. They've talked like sometimes. So yeah, because she works for the government.
This week has been awesome, you know, getting to meet great people across the country. Probably, I don't know how many other 18-year-olds can say that they've done this before. Just a lot of great experiences, getting to go up to the Capitol, meet with senators, just kind of learning the importance that, you know, teens have in their voices and stories is kind of an awesome thing.
This week has been really awesome. There's been some really cool experiences here in DC. We've gotten to see the whole city, which is pretty awesome. And also, like, when we went to the Capitol, you felt like you had VIP access, and we got some really cool training.
This week was very eye-opening. It was my first time traveling by myself, so I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed like making new friends and learning new things about tobacco control, learning how to be more professional when it comes to talking to state representatives and staff of Congress, so it's interesting.
My high point for this week would be meeting with the FDA Center for Tobacco Products, because I've always wondered, it seems like it takes forever for them to do anything, and now just understanding more about why it takes so long and that there are all these rules that I never even knew about.
High point for the week was as we were getting ready to go up for the Hill visit, and we were meeting with Ann Ford, and Jordy and I were kind of running through everything. And even though I've kind of been away from tobacco prevention for a little while now, it came back. So it was kind of like being back home.
Probably the Hill visits, because it's not something that you normally get to do when you come to Washington. So
going up to the Hill and being able to express my opinion and how I feel about tobacco products.
Oh man, the high point for this week, probably meeting with the FDA, just getting to talk with them, just hearing what they're planning on doing, even though, yeah, they didn't say much about what they're planning on doing, but just getting to talk to them, meet them, and, you know.
High point was probably going to Capitol Hill. I didn't really know exactly what to expect. Like, I've met with like people in my community, like city council, but this is like on a whole other level. I expected maybe to be a little intimidated, and I really didn't expect it to be fun, but it really was a lot of fun and a cool experience to have.
I think the high point was definitely the monument tour. That was interesting for me because I've never been to DC and like gotten to see all the monuments and go sightseeing, so it was really cool for me.
Some skills I learned here are I will be able to help train new members better and more efficiently because I haven't been to a training in quite some time, so just going to trainings again and refreshing my memory, and that's going to be really helpful for my group.
I found the kind of interacting with the FDA gave me an appreciation for kind of the bureaucracy aspect of working with the government that, I mean, I certainly hadn't had the opportunity of working with before. We spend a lot of time working with legislatures and local governments, but the kind of movers and shakers here are often the bureaucrats. So it's interesting getting that angle.
I think I've gained maybe some more self-confidence. Going and sitting with legislative staff is kind of intimidating. So, you know, you gain that, and you also, you know, going and seeing what the FDA is doing kind of, you know, shows you what else is going on in tobacco prevention, so you know you're not alone in your fight.
I've learned a lot of things from the FDA that I didn't know before, and I've learned many different ways that I can actually be involved in like the regulations of different bills.
New skills that I've learned, I don't know, just kind of talking with senators. I've never gone up to Capitol Hill before, even though I've been to Washington, D.C., but going up there, getting to talk with them and their LAs and whatnot, kind of just learning how to properly do that, and I have to stand up and be all proper and whatnot, so yeah, that was kind of cool to learn that.
I did gain new skills. I'd say the experience of talking to national representatives, like speaking to somebody of that status and kind of having the experience of, you know, this is what you're supposed to do when you're in a representative's office. This is how you go about introducing yourself and bringing up an issue that you have. It was really neat.
I learned how to kind of think on my feet and carry a conversation, be professional when it comes to talking to staff of Congress, and also just like making sure that you don't go on a tangent when it comes to talking to somebody and being on a mission. So making sure you stay on topic with the initiative is definitely important.
The most fun thing we did here was probably the boat tour, even though it was really short.
The coolest thing I've done this week is probably the boat tour. Even though it wasn't so long, it's still a different way to see the city that I've never really done before.
The coolest thing I've done this week was walking the city.
I think it probably would have been Lucky Strike bowling because I used the candle pins, not the big bowling ball, so that was new for me.
This was a really fun event, and I would love to come back next year.
If you have the chance to come because it's awesome, and you'll meet lots of great people, and you'll have lifelong friends or enemies depending on how you are, I guess, and how your representatives and senators are. So yeah, definitely show up if you can.
I'd say that this is a really, really awesome experience, and it's something that you definitely don't get to do every day. And what's nice about it is I mean, first of all, it's a free trip to DC, which is pretty cool to begin with, but you get to do some really awesome things with that. And it's been great.
My name is Elizabeth Orland. I'm the manager of youth advocacy and grassroots, which means that I've basically been planning the symposium, trying to get together the trainings. I've tried to put together all of the things that I think are essential for our youth advocacy program so that all of the 29 kids who came here are going back and having the ability to carry out their programs at home.
This week was great. As a former Yaya, it's always nice to come back, work with the campaign, and see the next generation of Yayas and the passion that they have for tobacco control.
My name's Chad Bullock, and I'm here this week as a consultant with the Symposium, and it's been an awesome time. And just coming here after doing a lot of work a long time ago and still doing work now, it's just been awesome just to be back here at the Symposium.
Before Symposium, I was in charge of all of the travel arrangements, participating in the conference calls with the kids, helping them really understand the TSA requirements as some of them hadn't ever traveled before. And during Symposium, I was another chaperone, making sure that things ran smoothly, that people were where they needed to be on time. And during the Hill visit, I got to shuttle kids back and forth in the 100-degree heat, making sure that no one got lost.
I think that the takeaway is that there's kids doing great work all across the country that we don't necessarily know about. And that's something for us to really go back and work on and really make sure that we are getting kids from all across the country involved in our program, because as of right now, we're really focusing on the people who apply for Youth Advocate of the Year awards, and there are so many other programs out there that have great resources. There's some programs that are losing their resources, so focusing on both of those together, as well as our current youth advocates, just to make sure that we're touching all of our bases and providing ourselves as a resource to everyone.
I was hired as a consultant. I was a former Yaya, and then in college I was a TFK intern, and for the 9th annual symposium this year, they brought me back on as a consultant.
The highlight of this week was definitely just seeing everyone gain more confidence, have fun while out there actually changing things, like whether it was on Capitol Hill or out there in all the sessions, learning how to do things and how to say things and just how to be overall great advocates. And I think that was like the major point for me. It was like, you know, that felt good.
One of my biggest fears was that the travel arrangements wouldn't be correct and someone would lose their bags on the way here, which thankfully did not happen. And that someone would get sick or something terrible would happen and everything would just be a mess.
I think that the IS should just stay in contact with us, continue working on their tobacco control work, and really just stay involved. I think that there's a lot of them going through transition periods right now from high school to college. Perhaps they are thinking about what kind of fields they want to work in, but really staying involved in tobacco control doesn't have to be a career decision. It can be a passion decision, which it has been for most of them. So just making sure that they stay engaged, keep in touch with us, and just have the ability to go back home and do the work that they do and just keep us in the loop.
The high for me this week was definitely seeing that next generation of Yayas and really growing the family. Yayas really are a very close-knit family, so it's nice to see the new students coming into the program and all of the amazing work that they're doing back home in tobacco control. I think the highlight for the students was being on Capitol Hill on Tuesday. They had a blast going in, meeting with their members of Congress, and actually seeing how their voice can really make a difference and have an impact. One of the groups actually had one of their representatives remove their name from the co-sponsor list. So we're really seeing how we can go out there and as a collective group make a difference.
The major piece of advice I would really have for the Yayas is just to honestly take advantage of every opportunity you can. Like, there's so many doors opening for us, and that all of us as Yayas, and you know, I think that if they can just take advantage of any opportunity and take the initiative, it would be awesome.
TFK is a great resource. really stay connected. I know that back home you can feel like you're sort of alone in this fight, but even though TFK might be hundreds of miles away, we're still here to support you. You know, we are a great resource. The staff at TFK will do whatever they can to help you back in your local communities take on the tobacco industry and keep doing all of the great work that you're already doing.
My highest point this week was probably last night when Brittany came up to us and gave Elizabeth and I hugs and thanked us for the opportunity, and watching some of the kids really grow out of their shells and talk to people and become really good friends with people I never would have thought that they would have even talked to.
Yo, the symposium was awesome. I think that everyone just go home, rock it, do all the amazing things at home, and we all come back here next year. It'll be a good time, a good party.
I think, as far as I know, that it went pretty well. There were some minor details and minor hurdles, but we were able to get over them pretty quickly, and I think the kids didn't really know how nervous or anxious some of us were, and I think all of us played a really good role in making sure that the kids had a great experience.
I think that this week went great. I'd like to start off by saying I think that I have some of the best staff in the world because it's definitely a difficult task to make sure that this entire experience was organized and smooth. And so, you know, I'd like to start off by thanking the staff. But the other side of that is that we have a really good group of kids. I think we have some of the best advocates that I've ever been exposed to in my entire life. I've experienced a few symposia in my own life. As a former youth advocate before taking this job, I've been to several of Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids symposia. And so I'm not being biased when I say I think this is one of the greatest ones. And not necessarily because of anything that I've done, but mainly because we've had some of the best youth advocates out there. They've been engaged from start to finish. They are extremely knowledgeable about the art and the nuances of tobacco control, especially when it comes to youth initiatives. And so, you know, they are really, really great. We've had a lot of fun. We started on Sunday, we end on Thursday, and we've had a series of meetings that have proven to be beneficial to them. In a lot of conversations with them, they've said that this is something that they will never forget. And I think that's the greatest single impact that we can have. In addition to making sure they have a wealth of knowledge on tobacco control by the time they leave here, it's those other experiences that they'll never forget that's really important to me. For several of them, it was their first time getting on an airplane, or the first time they've had the opportunity to travel by themselves, or the first time they got on a boat, even if it was only for 5 minutes. Some of them, it was their first time traveling on the metro, and some said it'll be their last time traveling on one as well. Overall, I think this week was a wildly successful week, and I'm looking forward to all of the things that'll come out of it, because truly the impact will continue to be measured even when they get back home to their hometowns. We have no idea. We don't have a single clue how big of an impact we'll have made until they get back home to their communities, and we're reading in the newspapers and on the internet about these great things that they've gone home and continue to do.